we go to Indonesia. We go to Nadia Pralitasari, and where is Dela is there as well. They both have been working with a hell of a lot of collective agreements within Indonesia, with the same COBRA database, and they will explain how they have been using COBRA and how they have been improving CBAs. The floor is to Dela and Nadia. Welcome.
Oh, okay. So my internet connection is a bit weird, so apologize if it's lagging a bit. So thank you, Pauline, for giving the opportunity to share our work, wage indicator work done in Indonesia. So let me introduce myself first. I'm Nadia from Gajimu, Indonesia, part of Wage Indicator Foundation. Well, all the previous presenter has shown how the collective bargaining agreement data being collected, annotated, analyzed, and what are the findings. But have you ever wondered on how exactly those data contribute to better working conditions? So now, together with Danny, our data manager, we're going to share our practical experience on how we do CBA workshop in Indonesia and how we use the CBA database to negotiate for CBA improvement that can protect many of the workers. So before going to a more detail on what we do in the CBA workshop, allows me to explain a bit about our current collaborative project in Indonesia. So together with Mondial FNV Trade Union Rights Centers and funded by Laudes Foundation, we initiate a project called Workers-Driven Social Responsibility, or Decent Work Check. Basically, this initiative tries to answer all of the questions on the slide. We started off by doing multiple data collections, and then from there, we trained trade union negotiators to have an effective evidence-based dialogue with employers and regulate the agreed topics in their collective bargaining agreements. And while doing that, we are also informing the public and the stakeholders, including the brands, through our website on the data collection result, and that is for them to monitor the working condition within their supply chain. Next slide, please. So we always say this in our CBA workshop, that workers and employers are creating their own laws within their collective bargaining agreement. And it has been proved effective during the COVID-19 pandemic and the degradation of the labor law in Indonesia. That factories with the CBAs are not affected as much by the situation as the other factories without the CBAs. As having CBAs are one of the most powerful ways to protect workers, therefore we conduct multiple CBA workshops in Indonesia. In the CBA workshop, trade union negotiators are being trained to prepare their own version of gender-responsive CBA draft and build evidence-based argument for their CBA negotiations. Next slide, please. So this is one of the tools that we introduced in our CBA workshop. This is the CBA Mapping Tools. So together with the trade union, we categorize several main and subcategories which can be regulated in the CBAs. Like, for example, here on the left side of the slide, when we talk about wages, we could draft clauses in the CBAs on lowest wage to be paid, transport allowances, meal allowances, bonus, etc. In some factories, the practices are already implemented. However, it is not regulated in the written agreement or in the collective bargaining agreement. So using these tools in our training for each topics, like for example, transport allowances, we asked trade union to map whether they have received complaints from the workers about those like meal allowances or transport allowances. What are the challenges faced if they advocated into their CBAs? How long the negotiation will take place, and is there any data or stakeholder support to advocate these issues onto their CBAs? And so by filling in our CBA mapping tools, the trade union will know which of the topics that are easy relatively easy or hard to be included into their CBAs. And this also can serve as a roadmap for the trade union in enhancing their CBA renewals. So next slide, please. Okay. So after mapping what clauses that are easy, relatively easy to advocate, the trade union can set the advocacy target and prepare arguments with our problem inventory list. What clauses that they would like to add or revise and why it needs to be regulated in their CBAs are written here in the problem inventory list. Apologize that it's in Indonesian, but you can see the English text on the upper side. Because we emphasize on evidence-based social dialogues, therefore the trade union are also trained to gather workers' voice and needs. We're currently do it with our decent work check surveys. We also encourage the trade union to document cases that they have, report from their workers, and also specific surveys created by the trade union with the workers as their voice. Aside from gathering worker surveys, the trade union also search for regulations and the CBA's reference from other factories to support their arguments. And all of this information about the labor regulation and on CBA database for them to compare CBAs can be found in our website, gajimu.com. And next, please. Okay. And using this method, several factories have succeeded in enhancing their CBA renewal, even despite the pandemic. So here is one of the example. Like in PT YKK Zipper, the trade union has successfully advocated the factory to provide nursing time and facilities for their workers. The trade union used the reference on other factory CBA that already regulate about nursing time and facilities in which they access from our CBA database. The trade union can also compare factory in the same sector that provide nursing facilities according to our decent work check survey. And of course, the labor regulation that could also make their arguments stronger. And okay, so for several years, wage indicator has been collected and annotate collective bargaining agreement as explained by our colleague Gabriel. And for Indonesia, we have collected 233 company CBAs available in our system, and that include 22 company CBA renewal. From those 22 CBA that has been renewed, the wage indicator data team, so it consists of Rhea, Mahika, and also Dani. Hi. They analyze in which area the classes are improving from their previous CBAs. And we found out that the greatest increase was in the job titles and classification category, where it increased by 18%, and the three other categories, which is gender equality, work and family arrangement, wage, are also improving by 4.55%. And improvement in classes related to gender is also in line with what we aim for our CBA workshop, where is it to produce more gender responsive CBA, where we can see improvement in protection for pregnant workers and breastfeeding workers. That include like lactation room, like nursing facilities, or occupational health and safety for pregnant and breastfeeding workers. Then also the other topics that is also include are equal opportunities in training and promotions. So in conclusion, the benefits in doing trainings are very well appreciated by the trade union and the workers, specifically in a tough situation like today. Although, of course, there are still room to evolve more. So I would also like to thank all of the team involved in realizing this and hoping that the practice that we've done in Indonesia can be lesson learned and could also be applied in other countries as well to create bigger impact. Thank you.
Super, Nadia. I think it would be very interesting to come one day and talk with Lawrence. He has a big database on collective agreements as well, and he might learn a lot from how you have been doing it really on grassroots level to improve, isn't it, Lawrence? It's cool, huh? It's really step-by-step improving, where otherwise it's the field of negotiators, and here it's also the field of workers who step-by-step improve with the help of the collective agreement database, because without a database you can't do this. And so thanks a lot for this presentation.